Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with Trae.
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peeps that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I get to start my week off and welcome you to a magnificent Monday in such a magnificent way. Y'all, this is truly a Black Star powered episode right here. I get to throw back to a phenomenal interview that I got to do with Paul Tazewell. That's right. Paul Tazewell himself, the Oscar-winning costume designer for Wicked, was also in the Seattle area for Pacific Northwest Ballet's world premiere of Sleeping Beauty. Oh my goodness, the costumes were truly phenomenal coming from his brilliant mind. But I'm so grateful that he had time to sit with me, tell us a bit about his journey and how he stays so true to his design aesthetic, y'all. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you. It was truly an honor to be able to connect with him while he was here in Seattle. But I also get to connect with you, right? Because it's the top of the show. This is where you get to share this show with others who you feel could benefit from this daily dose of dopeness we give you here on the Day with Trae. And you know, if you can't watch us, you can always listen to us anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network in the Day with Trae. You will find me on any platform that is your favorite. Well, before I throw it back to this phenomenal Paul Tazewell interview, I get to say a huge thank you to those of you in community who have stopped me over the years, and especially I got a huge dose of it this weekend being in community with folks talking about how impactful this show is for them. And y'all have heard me share this sentiment of gratitude before, because it truly is a reflection of the reason why we have stayed so driven to uplift brilliance here. Because when we talk about inspiring stories, inspiring you, there's something special about the synergy that it creates. And I'm always so grateful to get that affirmation back from those of you in the community who have watched The Day with Trae and been inspired by the guests here. Not only are we working to make sure that you are in the know about amazing things going on, but that you also feel the general inspiration that is coming from these guests. Because when you're inspired, more than likely you're encouraged to do something with that inspiration, whether it is to take a chance on yourself and start that business, write that book, create that amazing, program, whatever it is, there is something that we want to spark in you so that you and your brilliance can be a part of this community as well. And if you're already doing it, we're giving you a huge kudos because we want you to continue doing so. And when I get those kudos about what I'm doing here with the crew here at Converge, it is so special for me to hear from you all out there as I'm at community events and I'm visible and connecting with all of y'all, that this is really a special platform that is here for everyone to share their stories. That's what this is about. We are excited to uplift Black brilliance here in the Pacific Northwest. We talk about it all the time, but y'all see guests from outside of the Black community here. Why? Because they have something great to share, and that's really what this is about. So thank you so much to those of you who have stopped me, let me know this is really something that you are impacted by in such a positive way, that you've been able to learn about amazing resources, artists, plays coming here, amazing shows, whatever you are taking from this platform. When you stop me and you let me know it's good, there is something so special about hearing that from you all, because it truly is confirmation of why we've designed the Day with Trae the way that we have. So thank you so much. Every time I hear from y'all, I want to share with the broader audience so y'all know it definitely means something and it matters to me personally. So I'm really eternally grateful for all of you who have let me know, hey, you're onto something here with this show. So thanks so much. Of course, I'm excited, y'all, because Black Star Power episodes, woo, when I tell you, I got some real special time with Mr. Paul Tazewell, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you right after this short break. You definitely don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hey, what up, everybody? Truth Talks is one of the hottest shows streaming, and we're expanding. You can catch all the tea live and unedited Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and again at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Dive into the truths you need to hear, from pop culture to politics and some of the biggest celebrity exclusive.
I wrote the song in the car.
Get out the way. That was my theme song.
Set your reminder to catch us live on Fox Soul or binge watch on YouTube/Fox Soul.
Getting the scholarship really changed the conversation. It went from, no, I can do school in my free time and make it work, to I could only focus on school and I could be the best I can be every single day. I can soak up everything. I can read before class and make sure I'm not just learning enough to pass a test. Like, I could really pour all my time into school. That's what having a Seattle College Foundation Scholarship did for me.
Ready to be intentional with your spending? Whether you're gifting it or using it for yourself, the Buy Black card allows you to shop at many different Black-owned businesses across the greater Seattle area, like Love a Latte, Dramer Ice Cream, Motis Beauty Supply, Pizza by Ruffin, The Spa House by Queen Care, and so many more. You can see the full list of participating businesses when you sign up for your Buy Black card at intentionalist.com. And thanks to our friends at BECU, you'll save 20% when you load your card. Spend like it matters with the Buy Black card.
What's up, everybody? Trae Holiday here, and I am at McCall Hall with Paul Tazewell. Paul, you are a phenomenal designer, and many may know you from all of the big productions you've been on, but you are also here bringing your brilliance to the world premiere of Sleeping Beauty for Pacific Northwest Ballet. I want to hear about this experience, but I got to start in the beginning. For those who haven't known you and are following now and learning so much, how did you get yourself in position where you've been on these big productions doing so many phenomenal, iconic designs when it comes to costumes?
Well, I've been working professionally for about 35 years, so I've been doing it for a long time. And then I was, before that, I was designing costumes when I was in high school, growing up, and it's been a part of my life for quite a long time. But I went to school. I went to Pratt Institute studying fashion for a year, and then I went to North Carolina School of the Arts, or actually they call it University of North Carolina School of the Arts at this time. And then I went to NYU for graduate school.
Wow.
And after graduating, I started working professionally, first at the Arena Stage in DC, in Washington, DC. But my first Broadway show was Bring Into Noise, Bring Into Funk, that George C. Wolfe directed, starring Savion Glover, and it just, as a freelance designer, I just kind of took off from there. That was the first Broadway show and first Tony nomination. But there, it's been a roller coaster since,
Wow. Well, tell us a bit about how, getting nominated as a costume designer and on a major production like that, then kind of opens up people's eyes that, oh, that guy, oh, maybe over here, over there. Did you experience that kind of domino effect after Bring Into Noise, Bring Into Funk?
It was at the time, and I'm hugely grateful, and I was very fortunate to enter into the industry of costume design. Because there were also a lot of productions, a lot of plays that were being written about people of color. Mm-hmm. And lots of regional theaters that were getting, they were getting grants to produce productions centering on the story around people of color. And so with that, they were searching for designers that could help to tell that story. So it did, in many or for many theaters, it did open those doors, and I was able to go in and do some amazing productions. And what I found, as once I was in, and I was developing relationships, I my concern was that I was a bit in a box, because I was getting those shows about people of color, and that was great, but I wasn't getting offered productions that were not necessarily about people of color. And many of those productions were productions like musicals or big, history dramas, where the design could be more expansive. So as a designer, I was hemmed in by, what I was being offered. And just, I felt like my creativity was somewhat stunted because I was only offered certain kinds of productions. That started to shift and change as I matured, and then also as the different theaters got to know who I am. I mean, in some environments, I'm still seen as that. I think that I've started to expand. Once I did Hamilton, that started to really expand, and I was being seen in a much more broad way. I mean, and then soon after that, I got West Side Story with Steven Spielberg, and so that. Just the assumption of who I am as a designer and how I tell stories through clothing, that narrative has changed, definitely, and I'm very grateful for that. But it has taken some time. Definitely.
Well, there's such a wide variety of live performances, and you were talking a bit earlier about how you loved acting and dancing and theater and choreography and and costume, all of it kind of converging for you. But then choosing costume as that pathway was something that you have been drawn to. But I really appreciate how costume is a contributor to story. And I think sometimes people don't understand that nuance. Can you expand on that a little bit about how your process really is, a thorough line to that vision of the director, to that story that's being told, to how that character actually is going to be on stage or on screen?
I mean, I always think about, the importance of my work. And I explain it to other people, I give them the idea of, when you get up in the morning, you make choices about what you're going to wear. You chose to put your outfit together in a certain way because you know what your day holds for you. Whether you are going out to enjoy time with friends, or you're going to go on, a job interview, or you're getting together with, other people in a more formal way. You make certain decisions about who you will be that day, and it is reflective of what you need to be able to do. So that is about function and how you want to feel and what you want to represent in the world for that day. And that shifts and changes. That's why you have a selection of clothes. It's not just because this shirt is clean, so you go to the next one, and you have a statement to say about your clothing. And I use that and really turn up that volume as I'm thinking about characters. And I also talk about when you're walking down the street and you see someone coming towards you and you don't know who that person is, but you just innately will start to make judgments about who that person is based on what they look like, which is inclusive of what are they wearing, does it fit well? What do they look stylish? Do they look like someone who likes color? Are they going to hurt me, or are they really inviting? So you make those assumptions, judgments, decisions from a distance. And yeah, as a costume designer, I'm setting up all of those. I'm making those decisions for each character. And that is the story that is being told about that character. And then from character to character, how they relate together, what those contrasts that I might be setting up within the story as well. And those are, that's an undercurrent that is hopefully subtle, but directly connected to who the character is.
Yeah, it speaks volumes, honestly, because it brings out very particular character nodes for each character, no matter what or how the audience is experiencing them. So it's great to hear that. Before I get into it about Sleeping Beauty, I got to ask about Wicked and your experience on Wicked. I mean, Wicked in and of itself just hits the scene and feels like instantly iconic, right? I mean, they are having, sing-alongs. I mean, people are showing up in character to the movie theater. My son and I went and saw the Broadway show before the play was out. Before the movie came out. And he was on the edge of his seat, and he's 11, right? And he's just on the edge of his seat. He's really getting into acting now. So it's beautiful how it has flourished, but so much of it was driven by costume, and especially the press circuit, right? That entire press junket of every time you knew it was, oh, there's Cynthia, oh, there's Ariana. It was so iconic. It really took us all by storm. Just give us a bit about your experience.
Oh my gosh. That whole experience was life-changing. We were shooting both parts at the same time. So the whole story of Wicked is being told in two films, Wicked Part 1 and Wicked Part 2, which opens next November. And I had the joy of living in London for a year and a half, working with amazing and creative, very talented people in making the costumes, and then with a brilliant cast and a brilliant creative team led by John M. Chu to film it as well, to film both, because we were filming simultaneously. So that part of it was always magical and will always hold a really warm and a tether to that time for me, and I really am so grateful to be on it, and then also allowed for, because it is this fantasy world of Oz that we were creating, and as I was saying, led by John M. Chu, who wanted to create a new vision for what this Oz would be. And that, it provided a huge canvas for us to have fun. And that's what we did. We were really, it was serious work, but we were having a ball doing it.
Well, I think you set the tone for all of the stylists who were working in terms of the press junket, because it was just one hit after hit. And you could see even reviewers were like, you know what, they're not missing. They are not missing. They just keep hitting it out the ballpark. Yeah. So I think it has a lot to do with you setting the tone in terms of the look and feel. But your work with PNB here, you got to work also on Swan Lake, which is it's iconic in and of itself. Phenomenal production here. I got to be there watching, again, on the edge of my seat, so drawn to the ways that costume and movement come together. And that's something that you do so well. Tell us a bit about your experience in these phenomenal opportunities to collaborate with PNB.
Sure. Wherever that was, it developed it in me, it was very early on. You're saying converging. The way that my love of performance and my love of clothing comes together is represented in the work that I do. Having the opportunity to design Swan Lake with, set on these beautiful dancers and, beautiful choreography, but being able to re-envision what that world might be was a huge privilege for Sleeping Beauty as well. It's working with PMB has for those two times, and also there are a couple of ballets that I did before Swan Lake. Wonderful opportunities to be creative and work with all of the choreographic and dance talent that is part of PMB.
Yeah. One of the things that I'm really excited about in building relationship with PMB is their intentionality around diverse lived experiences. And you as a Black man, being here, having such a strong vision for these characters that we already know and love when it comes to Sleeping Beauty, when it comes to a production like Swan Lake. How do you take your lived experience and infuse it in the ways that these characters then get to show up for the audience?
I think that I allow for stories to be very meaningful, and sometimes very emotional, and because I've lived in a world of whether it's through Disney, other fairy tales and storybook characters. The world of history and clothing and romance, and how I experience say the turn of the century is seen through the clothing and what it makes me feel when I see the silhouette of a dress pass through a space. And as a designer, I want to recreate that and, have that, kind of, pull out that same feeling for an audience, and figuring out what fabrics do I need to choose and what colors can I use and what is the fit of that going to be so that it gives them the same feel as I get when I imagine what that moment might be. So for each production, I'm thinking about, how, what is the silhouette, the shape on a body, but then, with my work as a designer, what other elements can I use to emphasize what that feeling is going to be, whether it's different kinds of detail, pleating or embroidery or, again, is it a wool dress or is it a silk dress? And is there going to be a rustle that you hear of taffeta when the dress moves? All of those things add up to qualities that give you, a specific sense, and a very specific type of reality. And I make use of that in my storytelling as I'm designing for different characters.
It's so interesting to listen to you talk about it because as somebody who loves it, I get to experience it on the other side. And someone who's done theater and all of this myself, I've experienced it on stage as well. So thank you so much for having such a strong vision. Before I let you go, you are also giving back to, others who can see you, be inspired by you, see someone like you and go, oh my gosh, he looks like me. And that could be me one day. Can you just tell us a bit about why that's important to you to not only be doing this work, but to be very forward about how you open up those doors for others?
Because it's become a huge priority for me to help those doors to open up more and more easily. Because as I was coming up, I didn't see other Black men that were doing what I was doing. There were I might have been able to count two, as I was growing up and looking for mentors and inspiration, and I had to pave my own way and navigate spaces that were full of people that didn't look like me, and now that I'm in a position where I can be a public face, talk about it, and just be an example of someone who has, become very successful doing what I do and doing that thing that I'm very passionate about, that I love, and offering that up as an option, an example of an option for someone else to strive for is very, very important, and that's part of why I have a scholarship that at University of North Carolina School of the Arts for people entering into the field of costume design, and that's why I have conversation. I'm always welcoming conversations that center on what I do and who I am.
Well, I appreciate you for being willing to have a conversation with me tonight. It's so great to not only experience your passion, it comes from a real, authentic, and organic place, but also to be able to experience your beautiful eye in design. So thank you so much, Paul.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being with me tonight.
My pleasure.
Wow. Y'all, that was Paul Tazewell giving us a glimpse of not only what drives him, but what you are experiencing when you find yourself in the seat of not only a live performance where he's been the amazing costume director, but also when you're in the theater watching phenomenal movies that he's been a part of. So glad y'all could join us. But again, I'm going to tell you, if you're trying to get there to see these phenomenal costumes in play, you definitely want to hit up P&B and come and see Sleeping Beauty, the world premiere. Thanks so much for watching.
Empowering the community one connection at a time. ConnectWise is your partner in finding the support you need. Download the app today and experience the difference that a connected community can make. Learn more at eec-wa.org/connectwa-app.
Hey, what up, everybody? Truth Talks is one of the hottest shows streaming, and we're expanding. You can catch all the tea live and unedited Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, and again at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. Dive into the truths you need to hear, from pop culture to politics and some of the biggest celebrity exclusives.
I wrote the song in the car.
Get out the way. That was my theme song.
Set your reminder to catch us live on Fox Soul or binge watch on YouTube/Fox Soul.
My hair is definitely unique in the rodeo industry, and not a lot of girls wear their natural hairstyle. And since I do, it makes it a lot harder to find equipment that fits my head the right way. When I speak about being unique, that's what I mean is, why should we have to change our hairstyle for safety maybe? Why can't they create something for us to be ourselves in and still be safe on the trails? You don't have to change the way you look because you're beautiful the way you are.
Welcome back, y'all, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. Wow, I am so grateful that we got to see Mr. Paul Tazewell. I'm telling you one thing is, when I can have an interview like that and hear from someone who has dedicated themselves to their craft for so long, that inspiration that I was just talking about is so real. It is palpable, y'all. Because the truth of the matter is that those stories, there's something that resonates in all of us when we hear the phenomenal dedication and commitment, going from, theaters to figuring out how to get into films, and then taking every opportunity that he could to showcase his style. Growing in any industry, it takes hard work and dedication. And we talk about that a lot, but it's so beautiful to see it in action and be exemplified in someone like Mr. Paul Tazewell. Congratulations for this amazing Oscar win. I'm sure he is still on a high from it, because there is something so special about that industry recognition. That is people in the industry recognizing your amazing, exceptional abilities, and it is so well deserved. It is phenomenal that he won this amazing Oscar, but it's also phenomenal to be able to understand more about that background story from right here on The Day with Trae. So thanks so much for watching today, y'all. You know we'll be wrapping up this week on Friday, but because we're just beginning, I get to wrap up this episode right now with you. You know I'll be back with y'all tomorrow at 11 a.m. And until then, y'all, peace.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.